Pleasant good morning to you all. Pleasant good morning, one and all. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Today is Wednesday, the 12th day of March, 2025. Welcome, one and all. Hope you had a wonderful, restful night, and I hope you are looking forward for a continued good week. Welcome to this midweek's edition. As I say again, so many of you in this schoolyard, so many of you looking forward for the credible information, and we're going to bring it to you. We are going to bring it to you as we usually do. Welcome, one and all. And just a reminder that, the time is now, we are on the same time, New York, that's Eastern Standard Time, and Guyana, we are on the same time. So I still suspect that many persons, especially those in Guyana, will be trying to tune in from midday. But so reach out and tell them, share the word, share the live, let them know that we are on 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is the same as Guyana time. So those who are waiting for 12 o'clock Guyana time, let them know that we are on and we are ready to rock and roll. My colleague is already here waiting, as is customary, to bring you the credible, valuable information. Today, Wednesday, another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. It is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should not take that for granted. So yeah, share. Give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day. Give praise and thanks. It's always good to be prayerful. So welcome. The program was scheduled this morning at 7? On the dot 7. And as soon as we schedule, some people were here. I got a strong suspicion that some of these students sleep in the schoolyard. You got to put up CCTV camera to identify those who sleep. We're not blaming you. We know you want to get there early so that you can get a vantage point to be able to get this information. So we're not blaming you. But the way how things are going, from the time the program is scheduled, people are in and they are ready, waiting and to go. And we are here as well. We are waiting and we are going to bring it to you shortly. Share the live. And I got to remind you to give us a thumbs up. I know Umi is going to remind you and call on you that you come in. Give the thumbs up. Show your appreciation. Show your appreciation and welcome one and all. Now, as is customary, by now we know the format. We're going to do the roll call. We're going to make the announcements. And then we're going to go into the many things that we want to discuss this morning. Many stuff. Interesting stuff. Guyana is a place where, on a program like this, you never fail to have content. We finish on Monday, and we had in mind to tell you about the carnage on the road. But so many things have happened since then, Monday to now. We're not sure if we're going to get around to that. But we're going to bring all of these things to you in due time. Perhaps, Mohamed, we need to have a makeup program at some stage. We are going to consider that because we don't want these things to be lagging too far behind. So share the live, give us a thumbs up, share the word that we are here. And in terms of the roll call, as I alluded, first man in the hills, Mohamed. Well, you could not be in the hills and be in the classroom as a first man. You've been right to the schoolyard, right by the gate, waiting. And as soon as the gate opens, you're rushing. So Mohamed from the hills can be the school in there, no hills. So you got to jump on us. Then Jakey from Maryland was here at 7. Also Peter Marlon is here at 7 as well. Puran from the Essequibo Coast. I think Puran indicated to us some time ago that he's visually impaired. And so Puran is here waiting for the credible information. Marcia was here as well. And shortly after 7:01, we had Evelyn Carlton, my squad mate, Kenneth from Maryland, Essie, Brenda, Connor Marukman. He was first on Monday. Now he's down at 7:01 a.m. this morning. Sandra is here as well. Barbara, all these people came in at 7:01. Ulrich, 8385, West Dam in the house. And then at 7:02, 1953, Aubrey from Canada. And the list goes on. Pauline, Anthony from Peters Hall in the East Bank. Tessa, you drop down, girl. You're coming at 7:03. And you got right down the line from Orlando. Malcolm, Diane, Aileen, Wayne, Courtney, Winston from California is here with us. Brian, Patricia from New Jersey, Vibert, 1966 Lawson, Joan from New Amsterdam, Dexter, Magnell, Gibbo is here with us. John Fraser, my friend and shootmate. Carl is here with us. The man with the wet kiss, Carl Johnson. And then we have Clarence, Earl, Elton, Russ, Ricardo, Kevin, Stephen, Sagi is here with us this morning. Francis Keith from Melanie, Ivor, Felicia, Desiree is here from Georgia, Brennan, Cecile, Sean from upstate New York, Lennox, Annette, then we have Ronald, Claudius, Terence from Canada, 9795, Nicola, Hazel, Valerie, Mandela is here, Esla, Winslow is here with us, Princess Earl, Lamar Springs, John from Tennessee, Selwyn, Lyndon, Knox John is here, Keith Allen from Barbados is here, Monica, Bonita, Desiree, and Desiree still in GT, Vibert, East Bank Demerara, Inferno Boss is here, Donna is here with us as well, Michael, and Michael is from Imbai Madai, and then we have Anthony, TK from California, then it is Ainsworth, Mr. K, Albert, then we have Dion, Cranston, Stephen, Ulrich, my squad mate, 9555. He says he's in Guyana enjoying fresh fruits, fresh fish. Denise, the secretary, is here. Sean, Pastor Smith is with us. George, Orin from the UK. Lynette from the UK. Derek. Then it is Russ Taman. David, Wayne from the UK. Michael is here with us. Wisma, from Wisma. Marva, Rayburn, Clifton from Paris. Then it is Patricia, Paulette, Lucius, Ian is here. Isabella, Nigel, Amanda, Aubrey, Vashni, Bristol, Benjamin. Then it was Como, 8218. Grace, Maureen, Harold, Siobhan, Lyndon, Heather is here. Claire, Ovid, Rhonda, Gary, Horret, Moses, George. Then after George, it was Yonette. Selwyn, my lawyer, is here. And look what Selwyn says. Selwyn, we're going to discuss it. So good morning, Mr. Stone, Mr. Conway. De-escalation and containment, as well as the various less than lethal use of force options, seems to be imperative with the videos circulating this past week. We're going to talk about it, Selwyn. We're going to teach on it. Then we add Valda is here. Carl, my squad mate from Arizona, 9414. Abera, Roxanne, Colin, 8941. Donald, Vernon, Clive from the UK, 12789. Grantley, Colin, Glendis, Henrik, Phil, Pito, 8152 is here with us. Kurt is here. Lorna, good to see you, Lorna. Doreen, my squad mate from Canada. Michael Brower is here from us. He's from the islands. He is from British Virgin Islands. Then we have Cord is back. Cheryl from New Jersey. Roy from upstate New York is here. Schenectady. Sandrine Baird is here. Father Masha. Everett from Texas. Mary from Brooklyn. Kerry from Maryland. Colin. And Colin is from Maryland as well. Vibert 7464 is here with us. Karen, Joseph, Fergus, Marcus, Trevor, Dorette. The angel is with us. Nigel, Gafford, Boo, Carlisle, Norbert, Colin from Queens. Cello is here with us. Yesan from Trinidad and Tobago. Ian, Cedric 8219. We had 8218 Comabadge. Now we have 8219 Danny. Then it was Kwame, Queenie. Then it was Dion, Alista, Rick. This is Rickford Robertson is here. Annette, member of parliament, is here with us. Marcus, Ulrich, the next Ulrich Solomon. Simone, R. Crawford, Marvin, Gordon, Umi is here. Flavio, Melville, Dwayne, Leon, Odell, Then after Odell, it is, let me see, Salima is here. Ronald, Lyndon, Charles is here with us. Anthony, Deborah, Verlin, Compton, Jono, Lyndon, Cornbread, my friend is here. Matthew, Anthony, Claude, Allison, Olive is with us. Rohan said he has relocated and he is now back in class. Monica, Roderick, Leslin, Shemlin, this is Keon, Audrey, Don, then it is Gordon, Delon, Christy, then it is William, Orville, Valietta, Marlin, Kellan, and then was the last person in the schoolyard. And then when we went live, he has regained his number one position. Edward Charles is here with us. Commissioner Cole is in class. Lynette from Barbados is here. Simone, Carlton Popo, always in class. Gordon, Brandy, and the rest, it goes on and on like that. Altia, Leon, Simon, 9778 is here with us. Yolanda is in class as well. Lots of students in the class. Always good to see students in the class. We know a lot of people, some of them are afraid to come and to comment because they're afraid of victimization. We understand that. But I know you're not going to be deprived of the education. You're going to make sure that you go on YouTube or you sit quietly and you observe. Now for some announcements. Let me remind you all, that this is an election year. All sort of date floating around, but we got to wait to hear when is the date. And so you're going to get all sort of craziness going on. The usual thing. Normally it is crazy in Guyana. Once it's an election year, it gets even more crazy. So let me see what is going to happen. And some sad announcements. Before sad announcement, I want to announce the death of the wife of retired Deputy Commissioner R.L. Martin. Marge Martin, she died, I think, yesterday or night before the last. And up to not so long ago, we told you that Uncle R.L. celebrated, I think, his 99th or his 98th birthday. He has now lost his wife, Marge. And for the policemen, I saw some comments who were stationed at Linden, where Uncle R.L. stationed for a long time. They referred to her as Aunt Marge, Aunt Marge, so respected. And, she was a pillar of strength in the area. So she passed recently, and condolences. Now, our next death that I want to announce, some of y'all might not know it. The name of the person is Calvin George Scott. Calvin George Scott, reggae singer better known as Coco T. Coco T died yesterday in Florida. He died yesterday, I think he was 65 years old, they said. And for those of you who don't know music, I know Dotley's going to be here. One of the songs that I remember well about Coco T is Rikers Island. Rikers Island. And then when it was Obama running, he had Barack Obama. Beautiful song, Rikers Island. I remember that very well. For so I associate Rikers Island with Coco T. And then he had Barack Obama. So Coco T passed yesterday, and therefore I want to express condolences to the relatives, friends, especially Uncle Harold. Uncle Harold on the loss of his wife. They would have been together for over half a century. So it's going to be a real blow to Uncle Harold. Yes, Umi, I want to go Rikers Island. Now, let me get, there's another announcement I got to make, but let me talk about the birthdays first. And I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to go back to that. Because that forms part of one of the main issues to be discussed this morning. And what I'm talking about, before, let me give you a heads up. We're talking about the death of Police Sergeant Vaughn. You might not have Alex Vaughn. Today, March the 12th, 2025, marks 1 year since Sergeant Vaughn was, as I say, shot and killed by one of his colleagues. We're going to go into some of the details in that a little while from now. But let me tell you about the birthday greetings. Birthday greetings are good. Well, on the last program on Monday, we said it was Princess Earl's birthday. She corrected us. Our birthday is some that wasn't Monday. So all those who wanted a free drink and so on, it was not our birthday. We made a mistake. And let me tell you how the mistake might have come about. You know, people sign on to Facebook, and many of them give a wrong birth date. So what happens when that wrong day comes up? Facebook will alert you that today is that person's birthday, and sometimes you are misled by that. And I think that is what happened to us with Princess Earl's birthday. And then today is the birth date or the birth anniversary of a former member, Frances Gilbert, the wife of Mark Gilbert, our former co-accused and co-defendant. His wife, Frances, is celebrating our birth anniversary today. Today, another Frances Kwamina Faria, Francis Kwamina FQF, a very good friend of mine. He's also celebrating. He's a man in the theater guild, poet and all of that. He's observing a natal day today. On Monday, we made another mistake by saying it was Lauren Joseph's birthday on Monday. Today is the day. Today is Lauren Joseph, also known as Faye Joseph of South Ozone Park. Today is our birthday. So all of you who would have gone for a drink and so on and to say, no, today is the day. Go back today. Go back today. Don't let her escape. Don't let Princess Earl escape. She only sometime long ago, since last month, I think. But yeah, those birthdays. And then we have belated birthday greetings to a former member, Charles Brown. Some of you, I remember Charles Brown, former detective. Today, he celebrated it recently. And in terms of advanced birthday greetings, tomorrow is the birth anniversary. Today is thank you. Let me make this correction. We still have Yolanda. You're taking big show. Your name up all the time. One of the students just had to bring it to my attention that I still have your name up. You don't deserve to have your name up all along. So I'm taking it down now. I am taking it down, Yolanda. Today is tomorrow is the birth anniversary, or as we say, birthday of Deputy Commissioner Simon McBean. Mark is celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Also celebrating tomorrow is Deputy Superintendent Clifton Davis. Clifton Davis is celebrating tomorrow. And CC, one of your squad mate, Wilfred Sandy, old traffic man Wilfred Sandy from the quarantine, is celebrating, I think, tomorrow as well. And we have one of the students who reminded me this morning, she's on the line now, Donna Brandt. She's also celebrating tomorrow. So I want to take this opportunity to wish all those who are celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrating in the near future, all the best on your natal day. May the good Lord continue to bless you. May you have a wonderful day, and you have a wonderful many more years ahead with happiness and prosperity. That is my wish. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to talk to you. Mr. Conway, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. Sympathy to Uncle Harold on the death of his wife. Also, birthday greetings, those who celebrating today, those who will be celebrating in the future. And also, let me shout out to Lauren Joseph, Faye Joseph. We did say on Monday was her birthday, but I think she deserves a double, And today is a real day. And sometimes one thing don't satisfy people, you got to give them twice. So happy birthday to her, and happy birthday to all those persons who we mentioned there. And especially the wife of Mr. Gilbert, a co-accused, co-conspirator. And I know that he's going to make today very, very special for his wife. He's the type of person like that. He mightn't tell her anything, but sure she will be surprised either during the course of the day or during the course of the evening.
Yeah, you said it. We go. Some people deserve more than one. They deserve more than one. And of course, if you are the giver, you have to have the capacity to give more than one, or else you are in trouble. So yes, I endorse that sentiment. Now continue to share the life. Continue to share. We're gonna go right now into some of the real stuff. As I said earlier, today is the death anniversary of Police Sergeant Vaughn, 5908, I think was his number. Shot and killed on the 12th of March, 2024. up to this day, 1 year after, as far as I'm aware, there has not been any closure. Now, let me read what was reported at that time. It says a police constable is now under close arrest, assisting with investigations after he allegedly accidentally shot his colleague during a manhunt for the prisoner escapee, Akim Wong. According to the police, this action was taken based on preliminary information that he allegedly and unintentionally fatally wounded Sergeant Alex Vaughn on Tuesday, March 12, 2024. Commissioner of Police Clifton Ikin has ordered a probe which is being conducted by the Office of Professional Responsibility and supervised by the Chairman of the Police Complaints Authority. There is no Chairman of Police Complaints Authority. On Wednesday morning, Deputy Commissioner of Administration, Mr. Calvin Brutus, Commander Regional Police Division Number 3, and other high-ranking officials of the Ghana Police Force, along with junior ranks, visited the mourning relatives of late Sergeant Vaughn at Tushan East Bank, Essequibo, to offer a word of condolences and encouragement during this difficult time. Reputed wife of Vaughn, Janelle Singh, told this newspaper that he was very dedicated to his work. He put his work before anything. She said now that he is gone, she has to figure out the way forward and what's our next move. Kaichon News previously reported that Vaughn was on Tuesday shot dead during a search at Karau village for a prisoner escapee, Akim Wong, who is alleged to have killed a woman and her son at Saxakali last week. Wong escaped from the Missouri prison back in February this year. Last week, Friday, 49-year-old David Gomes and 75-year-old Elizabeth Nellie Gomes of Durban Street, Wortmanville, Georgetown, were brutally chopped to death. Police suspect that the killing took place between 17 hours and 20 hours. In a press statement, police had said that so far their investigation revealed that around 10 hours last Friday, Gomes, his 6-year-old son, and his mother traveled to Saxakali Mission for 3 days to clean up their house and surroundings. Quote, according to David's 6-year-old son, at about 15 hours last, the suspect came to their house at Saxakali and asked for something to eat and directions. The police statement said Gomes gave the suspect something to eat and also drank vodka with him. The child reportedly said that the suspect spent some time at the family's home. He told police that he later saw the suspect arming himself with a cutlass and chopping his father and about his body. His grandmother, after observing what was happening, reportedly rushed to his father's aid, and the suspect also dealt her several chops throughout her body. The boy told police that he was hiding under the bed during this entire ordeal. After killing the mother and son, the suspect attempted to wash away the blood, but ended up running away into nearby bushes when he heard a boat approaching. The boy then reportedly located his father's cell phone and sent a voice note to one of his father's friends asking for help. Police were alerted and ranks went to the location to conduct investigation. The investigators have since learned that the prisoner escapee was seen in the area and that Gomes' property. It is believed that he is the killer. Police learned too that the suspect was also chopped during the ordeal. Meanwhile, crime sleuths reported that the victim bodies bore multiple chop wounds to the head and other part of the body. 1 year ago, the police sergeant killed. And then let me read the next part before we go into it. Then it says Sergeant Vaughn was shot 3 times. This is another report. Wife believes act was intentional. This is March 15th last year. Police Sergeant Alex Vaughn, who was shot by one of his colleagues earlier this week, died from a gunshot wound to his abdomen. The newsroom understands that 3 shots were fired. While 2 grazed Vaughn, the 3rd shot fatally wounded the police sergeant. With this information, his wife, Janelle Singh, believes there is more to his death. The family is now assessing whether the shooting was intentional or premeditated. Whatever they're saying, I don't believe it because this is a quotation. Whatever they say, I don't believe it because how your own colleague can shoot you 3 times. How could that be an accident? End of quote. I could say it was premeditated because how could you see this man and shoot him 3 times? Your firearm just fired 3 shots right away. The story ain't really adding up, Singh said. Vaughn, 53, was the officer in charge of Saxakali Police Outpost in Region 7. He was part of a joint services operation pursuing prisoner escapee Akim Wong. The shooting occurred sometime after 17 hours on Tuesday at Karau, Region 7. The team was dispatched to the area after information surfaced that Wong was sighted there. Police headquarters said Vaughn was unintentionally fatally wounded by his colleague, a police constable. Report reaching newsroom indicated that the police constable arrived at the area on a tractor as part of a backup team. Upon arrival, the constable claimed that his weapon was accidentally fired as he disembarked the tractor. During an interview with Newsroom on Friday, Singh was steadfast in our belief that Vaughn was intentionally shot. I would say he was murdered. It is nothing accidental. Me and see nothing accidental in that. Nothing at all, she said. The shooting is being probed by Office of Professional Responsibility. While this is ongoing, the police constable remains under close arrest. Singh said she last heard from Vaughn Monday night, and he informed her he was part of a special operation. And then it goes on, it goes on, and it goes on. But, again, the police force and the commissioner and the minister, Commissioner Ikin, extended squatter, as he's referred to, Robeson-Ben, the Minister of Affairs, 1 year after the shooting, 1 year, the public has not been made aware of the circumstances leading to the shooting. And I said it before, and I'm repeating it here again for emphasis. The fact that Vaughn was shot 3 times could not be accidental unless the weapon was an automatic weapon. And they haven't told us what the weapon was. And I made it clear. If it was a semi-automatic, it was a revolver, it was a pistol, it was one of those semi-automatic rifles that they have. To have fired 3 rounds means that you would have had to squeeze and let go of the trigger 3 separate times. So there can't be accident. If you had an automatic weapon, well then yes, because with an automatic weapon, once the magazine has rounds inside, and you cock, and even then you cock the weapon, and you press the trigger, the weapon will continue to fire until the magazine is empty or the pressure is removed from the trigger. So what nonsense they're telling us? What weapon was this constable? Up to now, we're not aware of the name of the constable. This man was said to be placed, he was placed under close arrest around the time of the incident 1 year ago. You didn't hear nothing. We're still under close arrest. Has he been charged? What happened to the investigation conducted by the OPR and the set supervised by the Police Complaints Authority? 1 year after a police sergeant is killed, they say accidentally on duty. And this organization, this commissioner, this minister, who claim to be transparent, can't update the public as to what transpired. And again, I got to blame many times the media people, because they will go there tomorrow and sit and listen to Tantimore, and questions like these are not going to be asked. They're going to be told about who shit in buckets and all of that. Pertinent questions like this. What is the position with the investigation into the death of Sergeant Vaughn? What is the position with that matter? 1 year today, this man was killed, and they can't tell us anything. They can't. The Vice President Jack Dio calling for Mohamed to have press conference. Why not call for a press conference for the public to be made with the minister and the commissioner and the crime chief to tell us what has happened to this death? Something is being covered up. It is obvious. If 1 year after, you can't come up with a report to tell the public, perhaps not even the family, what transpired. You must be covering up something. You must be covering up something. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. And this thing is artful, you know. I remember Vaughn. Vaughn worked with me when I got my first transfer and my first command, as it was then, D Division, West Demerara. Vaughn was one of the young constables working in D Division at the time. I remember him very, very well. Very well. So it is very painful that after 1 year, you can't hear exactly what transpired. All we know, postmortem said the man was shot 3 times. And I maintain 3 times cannot be an accident unless it was an automatic weapon. So tell us what he was armed with. Tell us. But they're not doing that. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Sisi, your take on Vaughn's death anniversary.
Well, Paul, it is shocking 1 year has passed and nothing, no information. They say there are so many unanswered questions. They're saying it was unin, unintentional. There's the reason you were shot unintentional. And we don't know whether we had one shooter or more than one shooter. We don't know the type of weapons that they use. And the thing is that Vaughn was stationed in Region 7. And as part of they said it's a joint service operation too. They went to Region 3 because Region 7 is the boy is closer to get access to the area. So ranks from Region 7 went to Region 3 and to look for this wanted man. But the whole thing is covered in secrecy. Come up and let us know exactly what's wrong. The relatives, the family, his children, they need closure. They need closure. Up today, I saw the mother of one of his son still grieving, need closure. And I knew well when I was Commander West de Moraro, and then when I was Commander ENF Division. I know him well, you know. But the thing is that what has happened to the investigation? 1 year passed, and if you're not sorting what happened, set up the report and recommend that there be an inquest. The DPP could recommend an inquest to find out if anybody is criminally responsible for his death. Although the magistrates don't hold inquest now, but by now things should have been there. The report go to DPP and recommend an inquest if you're not certain, or perhaps they believe that if you hold an inquest, they cover up that they get the will be exposed. It is shocking. It is unacceptable that 1 year after the death of a police sergeant in active duty, that there is no report, there is no information coming out from the Guyana police force. And even the complaints authority too, if they're saying that the complaint authority was supervising the investigation, I don't know. But if the complaint authority was supervising the investigation, therefore the complaint authority should at least let us get a report on it. And I'm saying the thing is, or the simple thing was you do the proper investigation and you recommend an inquest if you're not certain exactly what happened. And that will open up for a magistrate to do an inquest to find out whether anyone was criminally responsible for the death of Sergeant Vaughn. Sergeant Vaughn is gone over a year ago, and there is no closure or nothing looking like they would ever get any closure in this matter.
The whole issue now is that even if, or if, let's say, well, if or when they come up with some explanation, it's going to be clouded in suspicion. 1 year passed. And let me make this say some people are making points about automatic weapons and all of that. I know a lot of people who know me I know about guns and weapons, right? So you can't fool me when it comes to guns and weapons, because even if this person who did the shooting was armed with an automatic weapon, right? Even if, right? You get a lot of issue questions to answer. Why was the safety not on? Why was the safety not on? Very important. Why was the weapon at a stage where it could have fired like that? Because you got cocked the weapon and all of that. Even if the magazine was in with rounds, you would have to make it ready by cocking it. You would have to take off the safety and all of that before it can be fired. So don't when you talk about weapons, understand how it works. Yeah? Some of us don't understand, and therefore we can come with all kind of explanation which don't make sense to the people who are trained, right? And I am among that category of trained persons. So let me understand it clearly. As I said before, if the person was armed with a pistol, a revolver, semi-automatic, rifle, semi-automatic, assault rifle, anything like that, could not be accidental for 3 rounds to have been fired. Because if it is semi-automatic, it means for 3 rounds to have been fired, you have got to squeeze the trigger 3 separate times. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release for the rounds, 3 rounds to fire. If it had been an automatic firearm, then yeah, you could fire 3 with 1 squeeze of the trigger. But then the other questions come in. Somebody talking about the normal safety precaution, NSP. You're in an operation, all right, you get the magazine in, But why is the safety catch not on? Why is the weapon cocked? Why is the weapon cocked? All of these things should have been brought out in a proper investigation. But I don't know what has happened to this investigation. 1 year since this sergeant's death, whilst on duty. His family, I'm not aware if the family was given any update. I doubt whether. The public has not been given any update. Members of his colleagues have not been told exactly what has happened. I believe there's a massive covering up, and let's wait and see. And again, you sit down quietly, these things slip by, and they literally get away with murder because of something. They said that a police constable was under close arrest. They said so. Police constable was under close arrest to the killing, implying that the police constable was the one responsible for the shooting. And thereafter, you didn't hear anything else. Not necessarily wronged in the breach, Colin, not necessarily wronged in the breach, depending on the mechanism. I don't want to talk too much on this open platform, but the wrongs does not necessarily have to be in the breach to initiate the firing. There are different types of mechanisms, right? So call me and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I don't want to say certain things on this platform, right? But the wrong does not necessarily have to be in the breach for it to for the process to be initiated, the firing process, right? Take it from an expert. Now, let me move on. The police are always in the news. Now, let me give you the good part first. I saw, I think, in this morning on social media, police are holding a inspectors and sergeant conference, I think today. They're holding an inspectors and sergeant conference. Big opening ceremony and all this stuff. What struck me as strange is that you're holding an inspector and sergeant conference after you have held the officers' conference. I think you're putting the cart before the horse. Because one would have thought that you're going to hold the inspectors and sergeant conference first, get things coming out from them. They are the ones who are there, who's supposed to be running the stations, interacting at that middle, lower level. And one would have expected that they would have come and they would have made contributions, which we would want to discuss. Perhaps not only contributions, perhaps recommendations as well, that you would want to take to the higher body, which would have been the police officers' conference. But we have what we believe here is the cat before the horse, in that you conclude the officers' conference, and then now you're going to hold a conference with inspectors and sergeants. I'm sorry for this, It is clear that some of them are incapable of thinking strategically. Clear. Again, I say, and it happened in the past. I remember when I was there, you have sergeant conference, you bring them together, inspector, hear what are some of the concerns. And many of them know, because they're running stations, they are there on the ground, they know what some of the problems are. And some of them in the offices, they don't interact with the people down there, so they don't know. So they will bring, one would expect that the inspectors and sergeants will bring these things to the attention of the senior people. And at the conference, then you're going to discuss and perhaps come up with measures to deal with this thing. What is a backward set of people we get? Backward, you only officers conference last week. Now you're holding conference at the junior level. But they do things their own way. They're going to say, well, Slow and Conway are just being critical. That is what they are going to see. CC, tell me, make this make sense. You've done the officers conference, right? Of course, they don't put out no conference statement. But when the officers conference done, now you're coming to hold a conference to sergeant and inspector. You make it make sense, CC.
It make a lot of sense. Nonsense. That's the sense it make. Nonsense. I know the normal thing should have been done. That you get the various departments and branches hold their conferences before the annual police officers conference, where they review their activities for the past year and then look at the projections for the year and some of the issues coming out there they raise at the officers conference. And I always get a sort of training. Normally, in our time, the first week in the year, you hold a way called a staff development seminar for the college, a staff development seminar for the where you look at what happened last year, the issues, concerns, and you make your projections for this year, and you do something to develop them. And all they're doing, calling the people, we have an academy, we have an academy. And that was the only academy in the world without no departments. If you get an academy, or you expect to get departments, like for instance, the Ghana Police Force Academy, you might have a department of criminal law, a department of traffic, a department of police duties and procedure, and some other thing there, but this is just a name that they change it from a training school, from a college to an academy. Perhaps they don't know how academy operates. And then I hear the president mounting up himself there, but they get accreditation. Accreditation is take years. Accreditation, you have to a lot of standards you have to achieve. A whole set of standards you have to achieve. And they gotta come and check you out and all kind of thing. So they really put in the hours. They really put in the hours. You know, I can't even want to describe what really they're doing. But to me, is nonsense that you're holding a sergeant and inspectors conference when you already had the officers conference. And police has got to review. They got to review at the end of the year. You review your performance and come up with projections. But no, they're just walking wild. And I'm saying, they're talking about academy. Is the Ghanaian police force and get no academy? In the true sense of it, it does no academy whatsoever. I don't want to go in terms of the staff that they got there and who is heading the so-called academy. But you know, the thing is that the conference is a backward step for the holding the sergeant and inspectors conference. That should have been done long before the police officers conference, and the issues there is issues and concerns is discussed at that high level conference.
Well, that seems to have been the rational and sensible thing. But you know, them people are rational, they're insensible. They talk about sense. Remember, we said before the quotation, book sense without common sense is nonsense. And perhaps this will be happening because they will tell you about all these people who have all of these degrees and so on. Book sense. Book sense. Well, if you have book sense without common sense, that equates to nonsense, right? Right? So that is what we're saying. And let me move on, CC. I read this morning, 6 charges of misconduct in public office against the Assistant Superintendent of Police, Court Smith, were all dismissed yesterday in the Georgetown Magistrate Court. He was charged in June 2023. I'm so happy for Smith. But let me read what happened. The charges were all related to Smith, who was an officer, who was the officer in charge of the police finance department. Not really that is not really true. Of the Ghana Police Force. He was an officer there, affixing his signature to contracts for the repairs of several police buildings. The Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU again, here they go again. The Special Organized Crime Unit wanted the court to believe that the contracts were to be signed by the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, and therefore accused Smith of forging the Home Affairs PSA's signature. Magistrate Fabio Azor upheld no case submission by Smith's attorney, Patrice Henry. The magistrate also found that the Special Organized Crime Unit had insufficient evidence against Mr. Smith. In fact, the court found that the evidence led to prove that Officer Court Smith acted unlawfully. And let me read that back. In fact, the court found that the evidence led that Officer Court Smith acted lawfully and diligently in ensuring all emergency work were executed within the time frame and payments were made consistent with the bill of quantities and the signed contract. Neither you understand that Smith may sue the state for malicious prosecution. Smith has been interdicted from duty pending the outcome of the case. Another case, 6 cases, the charges Mar Smith said before the PS signature. I remember the thing well. Another man charged, 6 charges by SOCU and no case submission. No case submission yesterday, the magistrate ruled, no evidence led to prove that this man committed any crime. Staying in a man's character. He interdicted for almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years he's interdicted, placed on half pay, and he did. His name dragging through the gutter. Dragging through the gutter. And again, I have to ask the question, These files, when they are prepared, are usually sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for guidance and advice. The Chamber of the Director of Public Prosecutions, I'm sure, would have gone through this file. Did they not see that there hadn't any case? But they have an attitude, charge. And when you charge, let them go and prove their guilt, their innocence at the magistrate court. So cool. Again, 6 charges dismissed. And you can't help noting. You can't help noting when they charge police officers, one set of people get in charge. One set of people get in charge. When they talk about it, they're going to bring in the ERC. But the facts are facts. Facts are stubborn things. They have people, other people, who get accused of rape. Rape, not sexual assault, rape, and other serious offenses. Nothing. Promotion. They get promotion. Lucifer, the police know who I'm referring to. Lucifer was accused of luring a journalist, a female journalist, to his office. She wanted some information to do a story, to come to my office. And when she got there, it is alleged that he sexually assaulted the journalist. A female police rank after that reported that she went to Lucifer's office for something, and he braced her up on the wall, put the hand in she crotch and asked other thing. Nothing had happened to you. Well, a lot happened to you, he get promoted. He's promoted. But Smith, according to the court, due diligence, the magistrate said he diligently, lawfully and diligently carried out his functions, and they charge him. And what happened? No case submission, all gone. That is a pattern with the SOCU investigation. And therefore, I say to Mr. Calvin Brutus, former Assistant Commissioner of Police, buddy, keep the faith. Keep the faith, because SOCU, as far as I'm aware, is only one case where people pleaded not guilty, get past the no case submissions case. One. That's as far as I'm aware. Nandalal case, where the charge with Tifi Labo. Only case that got past the no case submission. In other words, is lawyers, after the prosecution presented a case, the lawyers made no case submission, and the magistrate ruled that based on the evidence presented before the court, there was sufficient evidence to call on him to lead a defense. He ran all over the place, and he didn't get through. Okay, he got to the appeal court and said, answer, face up, lead your defense. And what happened? When the government came into power in 2020, them charges, I think, were withdrawn or something like that. Only case I can recall. Perhaps there are more, but I can't recall other cases that went past, SOCU cases that went past no case submission. That is what is happening. And here, before bringing Mr. Conway, here what's going to happen. My crystal ball walking. You're going to hear very soon that the DPP and them say they're appealing the case. The DPP going to get no evidence at all, They're going to say they're appealing the case, and that poor officer is going to be kept interdicted for the longest possible time. Because once the case appeal, they're going to finish just now. We have cases that were dismissed in 2023, December 2023, and people have not been reinstated up to now. On the other hand, you had a man, and you can guess the ethnicity, who was charged with sexual assault sometime last year. They reluctantly interdicted him. He was charged before the court, and no interdiction. Because he was charged since 2022, I think, when there was no police service commission. This is an inspector. He wasn't interdicted. The police service commission came on. They decided they're going to make promotion. They had the power to make promotion, even though they were unlawful, but they hadn't the power to interdict this Indian police inspector. Then eventually he was interdicted. And in labor time, the matter finished and he was reinstated. In labor time, he was reinstated. So that's what you have. When you talk about these things, and look, I have a lot of East Indian friends. Some of them are around here right now. And I don't talk race. I don't deal with race. I deal with facts. Those are facts. And the thing look bad. Because how come you move with alacrity to deal with one set of people, and then when the other ones come, it's like watching paint dry on a winter's day. That's what's going on. I want you to talk to you, vex you. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to talk about Court Smith. I am happy for Court Smith. Good officer. The man was at the finance office there working. Do you think the trump up charge against you. CC, what are your views on these 6 charges that were dismissed? Soko again can get past no case submission.
Well, just as I expected that it wouldn't pass no case submission, and there's a history of Suku. I don't know of any other case apart from the one where the Nanlal, where he was charged for thieving law books. His lawyer made no case submission. The magistrate overruled, so a prima facie case has been made out, and he run to the courts, like court and other court, and they say, no, 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 no. There's enough evidence for you to think, and then government change, and the politically controlled office of the DPP null the prosecution. But and let me talk a bit about, I'm in the teaching mood about no case submission. Is when the prosecutor will present all his witnesses, all the exhibits that he or she wants to tender is done, and he say, this is my case. I have no other witnesses to call. I have no other evidence to tender. And the defense will then make no case submission. There is no case for my client to answer because of X, Y, or Z, or because of X. Some of them might say, there's no case for my client to answer because he was charged with burglary, and there is no evidence to show that it was committed in a dwelling house. End of the matter. Or lastly, there's no case for my client to answer because there's nothing to show ownership. And those are critical ingredients of the charge. Now, if the magistrate overrules the no case submission, as the magistrate did with Nanlal matter, he will call for a defense. If the magistrate agrees with no case submission, the case finished right there. There. Now, if the magistrate say, look, the overrules the no case submission, he would tell the accused, look, it appears as though a prima facie case has been made out against you, and you have some option. They call it the statutory caution. You could stand there and remain silent. You can give evidence upon oath where you submit to cross-examination. You can give evidence without oath where nobody could cross-examine you. And you can call witnesses to testify on your behalf. And if the witnesses come, they go through examination in chief, they go through cross-examination, and they go through re-examination if required. So if the magistrate calls for a defense, and have the magistrate call for a defense, if the prosecution will have to respond. And then the defense counsel will address the magistrate saying why the case must go down the drain. And the prosecution will respond why the person will be convicted. And at the end of the day, the magistrate will rule. But coming back to Suku cases, they're finishing at no case submission. And it's all because Suku has been taking directive from Carmichael Street and elsewhere, and they're getting advice from Robert Walk to charge, although there is no evidence. And I want to suspect that some of those matters don't go to the DPP because the police senior legal advisor would turn them back. Remember, the police legal advisor that turned back a rape allegation made against Damlal, said there was insufficient evidence. And when the law say that within 3 months, if you uncharge a person, the file must go to the DPP for advice. So a whole lot of things happening, but a lot of people get charged for offenses or offense that they did not commit. And in the case of Smith get a whole set of charges for any offense he did not commit. He finished a no case submission. And apart from that, I sure if he wasn't charged, he would have been promoted. Perhaps he would have been a superintendent by now, or a senior superintendent. But the whole thing, is ridiculous with what was going on in. And I'm saying that Suku does not have the ability to do proper investigations. Suku working from political directive and Supu getting quick advice in labor time from Rabbit Walk for charge because that office at Rabbit Walk is politically influenced.
Well said. Now let me move on. There is, I noted there's a release on today from the police. It says that the police force regrets conduct of ranks in Camp Street altercation. Now, what are they talking about? Let me show you all the tape or the tapes. There are two. There was an altercation between policemen and two civilians. Let me show you all, and then we're going to talk about it at the end. This is the first one. They're long. They're not long. This is the first one. Here it goes.
All of them? What's the police start your phone out here?
Bossy chain. This is gone.
Lex, all to them beating it. Why? Video them, video. What big fight? What the two them still fighting? Run down in the back of the yard. Cookie come with the speed. Oh shit. They could get shoot, you know. They could get shoot them by beating them. This is like desperate. They get charged, you know.
Now, let me show you another tape of the same incident from a different angle. It's very short as well.
It's disrespectful, huh? Very disrespectful.
This is not right. Watch. This is not right.
Now, you saw what took place there. Let me read for you what the police said in response to that incident. Today, Starbrook News. Guyana Police Force has expressed regrets over the conduct of two ranks during an altercation on Camp Street that was captured on video. Based on the video viewed by this newspaper, a civilian and a police rank were involved in an argument, and the rank then slapped the civilian's phone out of his hand. A fight ensued, and another rank was involved along with another civilian. The Guyana Police Force stated that with reference to the video circulating on social media, the actions of the ranks do not reflect the values and professional conduct of the Guyana Police Force. The GPF urged that all such actions be reported for investigations. Quote, members of the public are reminded not to attack or assault law enforcement officials acting in the execution of their official duties. Such attacks will be investigated, followed by court proceedings. The conduct of the police ranks depicted on the video will be utilized to ensure an improved quality of service for the traffic department via capacity building activities. That is what the police said. Now, before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me offer the comments. It is clear, as we have been saying repeatedly for the longest while, that policemen are not trained in how to de-escalate situations. They're not and they're not properly equipped to deal with certain situations with our less lethal weapons. Now, as we saw there, it would appear, based on what we are seeing, that these ranks, if you look carefully in the first video, it would appear the vehicle was clamped. Obviously, the vehicle was parked illegally and the vehicle clamped. Led to some altercation. This man up in the police face taking out a video. I'm not defending the police. I'm just relating what I saw. Up in the police face, taking out a video. Police then slapped away the video and the big brother melee started. Clear case of lack of training. But let me say this. Some people can vex with me. But it is wrong in the first instance for the civilian to be up in the police face and taking out a video. Nothing wrong with video recording the police, but you can't get within the man's space. You can't get within the police personal space to say that you're taking out video. That is wrong. It is equally wrong for the police to slap away the video from the man. And then the fight start. And thankfully, these policemen who are not armed with lethal weapons, because I suspect, especially the man who run in the yard and bring out the spade, that if the policemen were armed, perhaps he would not have done that. We might have had another fatal shooting. This thing has become, and then this nonsensical statement, I think that the police issue, they're going to use to train. There are many other instances and incidents we've been pointing them out all along. You have to train your policemen properly to de-escalate situations of that nature. To de-escalation, you have to train them. But the policeman stood his ground. The man violated his space, which is an important thing. Come right in close range, within a feet or two of the police taking out video. Policeman, obviously not properly trained, responded inappropriately. And then the thing started. And then they say they're going to use it, what I can say, utilize to ensure improved quality of service. You had incidents at my county recently where it was uncalled for police to shoot and kill 2 men. You aren't using that as training too? Yes, they were wrong on both sides. As I said, first the man got into the policeman's space, which he should not have done. Should not have done. You can't go into the policeman's face, right into his personal space, say taking out photo. Nothing wrong with taking a video, but you cannot violate the policeman's personal space like that. Right? And then policeman acted inappropriately by slapping away the video. In other words, rather than de-escalating the situation, he escalated the situation. It was clearly the lack of training, lack of the proper temperament. Somebody said, "What? The man was at least 3 feet." I saw differently. There are no 3 feet, right? Let me play back that part. Let me look at it again. Somebody said that the man was at least 3 feet away from the police. Let me just play that part.
All of that. What's the police start your phone out here?
What you see there, very close to the police. That's not 3 feet. By the time he stretched out his hand, he was right in the policeman's space. And again, I said I'm not representing. We're analyzing it factually so that we can, so that they can look at it. He was right in the man. By the time he stood there, he put out the camera, the phone with the camera, violating the policeman's space. And again, I'm not defending the police. I'm saying that we have to address this thing and we got to look at it objectively. That's the only way we can come to proper solutions. Only way we can come to proper solution. The man was wrong, and you get 2 wrongs don't make a right. The policeman responded inappropriately. And based on what I'm saying here, OPR can investigate, and then they're going to want to take disciplinary action against the rank. I'm not saying that should not happen. I'm not saying that should not happen, but it should look at it in a broader perspective. This is not an isolated incident. It is not an isolated incident. And this academy, what they're talking about and all this, these are the things we're talking about, proper training. Arming the policemen properly with less than lethal weapons. We talk about it here repeatedly. Perhaps if they had less lethal weapon, they wouldn't have got to this fist fight and a man running with a spade. Man running with a spade and lash the police with a spade. Now suppose some other policeman was there and was armed with a revolver or a pistol and shot him dead. What would have been the nice? Or run in a yard and bring out a spade and attack the police. That too is uncalled for. And I hope at the end of the day, if you're going to deal with the policemen disciplinary, you got to deal with those two too. Because I already understand, it has been said, that they are connected to some police officer. They are connected to some police officer. And I'm making the point repeatedly, this thing that you call respect is something that is earned. And far too often we have seen, especially in recent times, people are showing no respect to the police because the police are not respected, because they do not project respect, the image of respect. And there you get them type of altercation. I think it's very, very worrying. And what they're doing, they come with a statement this time around, but nothing concrete is gonna be done to address this situation. I know there are cases where people are charged, a couple of them get remanded and all of that. I hope by now they find who these people are, Find who these people are. You see the man who attacked the police with spade? He should be made to face the full brunt of the law. He run in the yard, bring out a spade, and he lash the police with the spade. Depending on what type of injuries the policeman suffered, he should be made, if he gets a wound in or something like that. And when he go before the court, hope the magistrates see the need to have him remanded, to send a message. This thing cannot be tolerated. Cannot be tolerated. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. I'm so mad about this thing, CC. When I side there, the blood boil up. Even though I'm not a policeman, blood boil up. Because had I been the commander, by now, they would have been in bars. And it's from the lockup to the court. You have to have a bail and all them type of thing. Straightforward case. You don't need a legal advice in this. From the police lockup, straight to the thing. If you want to investigate the conduct of the policeman, fine. But you cannot justify this man picking up a spade and lashing the police. Your views?
There are far too many reports, where policemen beating up civilians, civilians beating up police. Far too many things, far too many incidents. And it's not only with traffic men, policemen on mobile patrol, policemen on foot. It's happening all the time. It's happening regularly, and it's being captured on tape. I look at it and I was shocked. I was upset. And I make the point that in the line of police duties, from time to time, you have to use force. There's lethal force, there's non-lethal force, there's less lethal force. And sometimes you have to use force, including deadly force. But your action has got to be reasonable. A case law talk about a reasonably objective officer. And it boils down to training. When we look at it, you see that there's a lack of training. When police go, sometimes incidents they escalating it instead of de-escalating it. And I wonder, do they teach them anger management? Do they teach them conflict resolution? Do they teach them unarmed combat? Do they teach them self-defense? Do they teach them self-esteem? Do so much thing by the training there. And as I always got to refer to the program that we did, the comprehensive training program, the 1-year comprehensive training program by the United States formed there, where they come and they spend a year. I was a local appointment, and we did a lot of training program, anger management, conflict resolution, a whole set of training program there. The thing was that there must be sustainability. They should continue it. When I left, I handed over to Dr. Ball Williams. He wasn't doctor then, and he continued. And then he handed over to Hicken. And they come from squatter, must throw away all them things. Those, and government spend millions of dollars for training. Millions and millions of dollars for training. And they're not, it's a sad case that the police aren't properly trained. I don't know if there's physical training in the police training environment. I know a lot of the physical instructors used to be karate men, men with black belts and other belts that they train police to do self-defense, to do unarmed combat. But no, when I look at them, lack of proper training. And I'm making the point that yes, police has got to use force at times, but is it among the force that they use? Is it proportionate with what taking place? Yes, you got to use deadly force sometimes. Yes, you got to use non-lethal or less lethal force. But they're going out there and they don't have some equipment to deal with the situation. And when you look at it, too many instances where people beating up police, police beating up people. Where is the respect? Where is the respect? It's not there. And then out here, police investigating, nothing. Nothing coming out of it. Somebody gotta put all like that incident there, those two clips where you show the ball. What the police should do is that they should be able to use part of it and do case studies as part of the training. But I know there anybody in the training environment who could do those kind of things, That you should make them that into a case study. Edit it, do what you gotta do, and show it at all levels. And not only at the recruit level, right through the top right down. But no, you can go here, OPR investigating, end of the matter. And it will continue. Somebody gotta put a stop into it, one way or the other. But no, it will continue. You watch. Next week, I ain't looking in no crystal ball. Watch. Next week, you might see another incident with too much confrontation between the police and civilians on the road. And the thing is that apparently police don't know how to de-escalate situation. They don't know how to deal effectively with people. They don't know about anger management. They don't know about conflict resolution. All those things there must be embedded in them. And more so those who are patrolling the street, whether in vehicle or whether on foot or bicycle or otherwise, that they need to be properly trained in the use of force. Perhaps we need to get an episode just dealing with the use of force. Why not? I don't know if they might listen to us. They might say it's Conway and pass through. Use of force is critical and should be embedded in the minds of all ranks from top to bottom.
Yeah, I agree. And to the student who's saying the offense larceny is, of course it is bailable, but not every offense that is bailable you're granted bail for. When you go before the court, the offense can be a bailable one, but the circumstances surrounding it, the magistrate might refuse. Bail is not only for the offense. A lot of other considerations have to be taken into account, right? So this is not a today to go into bail, but the fact that let's say he's charged for assault, let's say he's charged for wounded, yes, it's bailable. But that is not the only consideration. There are a lot of other things after the magistrate or even the police would consider when granting bail. And I would hope that this, even though I'm not going to hold my breath, that this perhaps is a catalyst, because they came out with a statement, they said they're going to use it as training and so on. We hope they do so. I let the ranks. Again, I say 2 ranks don't make a right. And if a policeman is properly trained to de-escalate, then he would have been able to de-escalate that situation and he will have reached where it reached. Again, I maintain that the man was wrong to go into the policeman's space. He was there, then he shuts out the camera close to the thing. The man slapped it out. That wrong too. That is wrong as well. And that comes about, in my view, because the policeman or policemen are not properly trained to de-escalate these situations. Not properly trained. Obviously, the man, if his car, I don't know if his car was clamped or what, but he was angered, and therefore you have to know how to deal with such a situation. Before we move on, share the live, share, let them know. I like the attendance, but we need to go up, share. Thumbs up are very few. We don't have the thumbs up that we should get. You see, when you give us the thumbs up, the algorithms kick in and more people are alerted to the program. So give us a thumbs up. 70 thumbs up is not good enough for the number of students we have. And then let me say this, don't forget, the numbers are there for those of you who want to make a contribution to the upkeep of this program. The Zelle, Cash App, and the MMG numbers are there. And I want to thank all those who have been making their contributions and urge others. So give me a little tap up so we can continue to come here and bring you this credible, valuable. If you say, is you are saying that we bring you credible, valuable information that you don't get elsewhere. We do the analysis. We use our experience to read between the lines and tell you. So you have got to show your appreciation as well. Over the past, 24 hours or perhaps even, about that, I have been inundated with calls and comments over the comment I made at the last program with the crystal ball. Remember I told you all in the last program, I looked into the crystal ball and I saw that I was referring to the Mohammeds. The $900 million, all of a sudden, Mohammeds they claimed 4 luxury vehicles, 4.5 years, nothing. All of a sudden, the vice president last week, Thursday, talk about Mohammed shitting buckets and all of that. And shortly thereafter, the revenue people wrote the Mohammeds to tell them that 4 luxury vehicles they brought in were undervalued to the tune of $900 million. And they made a demand for the $900 million to be paid within 14 days or they are going to seize the vehicles. Well, the question was asked then, if, as the vice president said, and as we all know, that the Mohammeds are sanctioned, if let me say they want to, and well, only sanctions, anybody who does business with them can face sanction as well. So, all right. So if that is so, how they paying this $900 million? If they pay the $900 million to GRA, wouldn't the GRA be subjected to sanction as well? I don't know. I am asking the question. And then, as I predicted, I said based on the trend, you're going to hear about other crimes being coming up. People, the Mohammeds and others who are in the political arena, and well, the Mohammeds are not there yet, but the speculation is that they're going to get involved, is that you're going to hear all this other thing. And therefore, overnight, we see a guy in the Daily News put out something, say that I think they said $30 million, reward of $30 million if is offered for anyone who brings in information leading to the arrest and conviction of the persons who murder paper shards, Ricardo Fagundes paper shards. But I told you all them things and happen. I told you want to borrow me crystal ball and all that everything, right? Explain, Raul. Explain, Raul. Raul said, I ran for the first time. He said, paid taxes are not doing business. Well, I stand corrected. But how they're going to get this money if you ain't get no bank account and all these things are frozen? I don't know. So perhaps you can explain that, Raul. Because Raul is saying that the logic that if they were to pay the revenue authority, then that is doing business. He said that is not business. Well, I don't know. If drawing a check or paying them $900 million is not business, I don't know. But the story has reached another level. Yesterday, news source Gordon Mosley he had a news item last evening, and I'm gonna play it for you. I don't like to repeat this thing just so. I'm gonna play. It's a little about 6 minutes, so I'm gonna play it for you to see what transpired, and then we're gonna discuss it at the other end. So here we go.
Guyanese business magnate Nazar Mohamed, who was sanctioned last year by the U.S. government on claims of tax evasion and gold under-declaration, believes Vice President Barrett Jagdeo is behind the demand of the Ghana Revenue Authority for the family to pay up more than $900 million in additional taxes for luxury vehicles imported more than 4 years ago. In an interview with News Source today, Mr. Mohamed said his family will not be making that payment and instead plans to take the GRA to court over its demand. which he believes is politically motivated and malicious. In 4 recent demand letters, the GRA informed siblings Azruddin Mohamed and Hannah Mohamed that based on a reassessment of customs duty and taxes on 4 luxury vehicles imported 4 years ago, they now owe the Revenue Authority more than $900 million in taxes. The GRA has stated that failure to pay the money within 14 days will result in the seizure of the vehicles. It has now been 8 days since those demand letters were sent to the Mohammeds. Businessman Nazar Mohamed said the GRA's move is intended to pressure his son not to seek political office, since the governing party views him as a political threat.
Well, even if we want to pay, how are we going to pay? That's number one, which we are not prepared to pay anyway, because our legal team has told us that this is ridiculous. This is a clear case of victimization. This is a clear case of pressuring us so that he can say that, well, listen, I'm not into politics, you know. You understand? They want him to make a statement that, well, he's not going to run for these elections. That was the exact word that the emissary came with.
According to Mr. Mohamed, with the exception of the tax exemption granted to his daughter Hannah, who is a remigrant, no other concessions were granted to the family. But the GRA in its letters to the Mohammeds contends that Hannah Mohamed breached the conditions of the tax exemptions granted for the importation of a Ferrari car. According to the tax authority, she failed to reside in Guyana for the mandatory period of at least 183 days annually during the concessionary period. But Nazar Mohamed has refuted that claim. In the case of the other 3 vehicles owned by his son Azruddin Mohamed, the GRA said an investigation has revealed that the declared costs of the luxury vehicles are inconsistent with the values for similar vehicles with the same specifications. Nazar Mohamed told News Source that the claims by the GRA 4 years after the importation of the vehicles makes no sense.
To my mind, this is a very vindictive move by the government, because these vehicles, have been processed by GRA, by all the agencies within GRA, 4 years and 3 years respectively. And I myself don't understand how come after all this time that this suddenly come up.
Nazar Mohamed said it is clear that Vice President Barra Jagdeo is behind what he sees as a vindictive move. He said the government which he previously supported appears to be worried with his son's political ambitions and philanthropic work across the country. The younger Mohamed Azruddin has been visiting communities and meeting with citizens, and has also been building new homes for those in need and starting up new businesses for others. He was also sanctioned by the U.S. government along with a number of the family's businesses.
And their main concern is that my son started his philanthropy work, and the public has been calling on him to seek political office. I have absolutely nothing to do with the politics, right? I'm an elderly man who only wants to return back to my Lord in a manner that He's pleased with me.
Mr. Mohamed claims that the government even sent a representative to meet with him on the issue of his son's political ambitions.
Just after the emissary would have taken back, our conversation, the pressure started. And then suddenly we received these letters from GR. Well, he spoke about it in his press conference.
Last week, the Maritime Administration Department announced that it has taken a decision not to renew the cabotage permission previously granted to the Hadith World, which is a company owned by the Mohammeds. The cabotage permission allowed foreign-flagged vessels to operate on coastal voyages in Guyana's waters. The company was granted a license to continue those operations after the U.S. sanctions. But after the issue was recently highlighted and the last license expired in February, MARAD has indicated that the license will not be renewed. The senior Mohamed said he cannot be stopped from doing business in Guyana, and he intends to have the court address the issue. In announcing the sanctions in June of last year, the U.S. Treasury Department warned that financial institutions and other persons that engage in certain transactions or activities with the sanctioned entities and individuals may expose themselves to sanctions or be subject to an enforcement action.
Yeah, you got it there straight from Gordon Mosley. Now, you know, these students are very bright. Because you're asking the question, why only now, 4.5 years down the road, why only now the GRA suddenly wake up and realize that the vehicles were undervalued and they demanding $900 million? Why only now, coming so shortly after the last press conference and the clear attack on Nasruddin Mohammed? Jagdeo said the other day that he should shit bucket loads or something like that. The timing got to be suspicious. Shortly after that statement was made, letters are now sent to the Mohammed claiming that they know. So what are they doing all the time? Now let me say this. At the time when the vehicles came in and the declaration was made or the declarations were made, they did not do a check to see what is the real value of these vehicles and tell them there and then that you're undervaluing these vehicles. There and then. I told you all of my experience some years ago when I brought a car into this country. I got the car at a bargain price. And I declared that with the receipt and everything to GRA. Corset Tatar was the man at GRA in La Marche at the time. And Corset said that, look, this value that you have is way below the value of this vehicle. And they value it, even though I presented all the receipts, this is the bargain I got. He said, no, this thing is more valuable than that. And they charged me at what they assessed the value to be. So what happened to this when it came in? 4.5 years ago. 4.5 years ago, they didn't do nothing then. Then now they realize, and I said the timing is suspicious because after a clear attack now on the Mohammeds by Jagdeo and them, all of a sudden now you're on the invoice vehicle. All of a sudden now you're on the value rather of the vehicle. All of a sudden now, you see wanted bull, no, they're a poster that they're offering $50 million, I think it is, for information leading to the arrest of people suspected to be involved, arrest and conviction of people said to be involved in the people charged. All of a sudden, and I predicted it, I told you all more gonna come like that. And what's where it come from? Guyana Daily News, a propaganda arm of the government, clear propaganda arm of the government. Like the same Guyana Daily News who published some time ago, a couple of weeks ago, that the Mohammeds were giving out $100,000 to anybody the first 1,000 who went. A whole set of people braved the rain and so on. Wickedness among them is wickedness. And I maintain what they're doing to the Mohammeds now is pure vindictiveness. And you know, as we say, I got to look on both sides. The Mohammed, he said himself that they are big supporters of the government. We saw when after the last election, the president, after he was elected, driving around in one of the Mohammed's vehicles. They didn't know then that these people are undervaluing vehicles and so on, drive around with the vehicle. And then he had claimed that he never used it after he was made president. Lie, the evidence is there. When he drove into the cultural center compound on the inauguration day, it was a pickup belonging to a fancy pickup belonging to the Mohammeds with a presidential crest on it. I did the research and I put up the photograph. I don't have it here now. I'm going to show you it again soon. Lie is vindictive. It's them. I believe that the fact that Nasruddin Mohammed has become so popular among not only Indians, but black people as well, they are worried. They are worried. As somebody wrote the other day, I think it was yesterday or someday, in Guyana, elections are determined by a very slim margin. And they don't figure out that if with Mohammed's popularity, he's likely to make inroads into their support. And that is a big story. There's nothing else. I believe there's nothing else. So they're going to keep coming after the Mohammeds. They're going to keep coming. But let me say this before I begin, Mr. Conway. I get a strong suspicion that based on the relationship over the years between the PPP, this present government, and the Mohammeds, they got to know a lot of stuff. They have to know a lot of stuff. And I'm hoping that they're not like Brutus. Because Brutus said he didn't go in alone. But up to now, 261 charges, dismissal from the force. They're now trying to go after his one account that he has. They want access to the account. And he's still in, so far he's going down alone. Well, not alone because his driver, a sergeant, and some other people are going down. But the main players, the people who I believe to be the main players, they are ensconced in their office. And what happened? Them getting promoted. And poor Calvin, the last he walked, get asked that. I hope the Mohammeds and bluffing we like Brutus. At this stage, they got to say Calvin bluffing. He has not come up with any goods to show what's going on. He's taking this thing alone. Even though we have evidence that when he collected the $60 million for which he's charged, the evidence is there that the $60 million was handed over to him in brown envelopes in the office of the commissioner, in the presence of the commissioner. That is what they, for the statement from the inspector who is now an officer states. Right? So there's evidence there that show Calvin know enough, but he can go down alone. He's going down alone. So let me hope that the Mohammeds, right, that interview he did yesterday, let me hope that they are more like that. And let me get more stuff, man. Talk will go on. You can't get this man oppressing you and victimizing you like that and you're staying quiet. No, man. No. Tell you what you know. And the man made an important statement, though, if you have to pick it up. The man said that they sent some emissary to him. They sent somebody to talk to him, to tell his son to make some statement here running for politics. And it looked like, oh, they rebuffed the emissary. And he says, since then is where the pressure starts. You got to pick up these things, you know. You got to pick up these things. That is what Mohamed is saying. That they sent an emissary. They send somebody to talk to you, man. Tell your son to back off. Tell him to make a statement that he ain't going to get into politics. Right? And then the man said that immediately with the parents, though, they tell the man, all your ass. They tell the emissary, all your ass, we ain't going to do that. And the pressure started after that. So it would appear that the emissary go back and tell the man, say, you ain't all enough. Are you all of your ass? And then the pressure started. Then your shit bucket loads. GRA writing for demand $900 million. One of the propaganda arm, guy in the Daily News, putting out, say, $50 million reward. Because, you know, as you know, was accused of being complicit in that matter. So that is what they got in that. And as I told you all the crystal ball last week, not last week, Monday, I said this is going to happen. More is going to happen. They're going to dig up more. They're going to continue to weaponize the state agencies, Guyana Police Force, GRA, and other. Don't left out the DPP because I want the same thing to DPP as a charge. Look out to see what's going to happen. Look what's going to happen. I tell you all, this is election year. This is an election year. And all the dirty tricks are going to come out because they're worried. I saw, again, over the weekend, think today and they're finding out all over. Ropes men got to somewhere where Sikimo Coast after Asudin been there, and people say he talk a scandal about he talk, which is not unusual when it comes to Ben. You don't say much that makes sense. That is what happened. I see today about Lion going some way, as you came again, I think it is. They are worried. They are shitting buckets. And the bucket price going up. And when we talk about buckets, we ain't talking about the old time snap can. We're talking about them industrial bucket where they sweat cement in. Because them shit where they're shitting, call for strong container. Because if you don't do that, it's corrosive. You're going to corrode the whole thing. Eat away the old bucket and so on. That is what is going on. I had a long piece about it. Let me bring Mr. Conway to get a piece. CC, the tape that I just played, I know you would have looked at it, my friend. Let me hear what you got to say about it.
Well, to put things in proper context, you know, it is public knowledge And let me make it plain that I hold no brief for the Mohammeds. I don't know them apart from what I see them on television, and so I have no any personal contact with them. It's public knowledge that they were joined at the hip with the government. The US come into play, and then the second vice president put out his dog whistle. Remember the one at his press conference, he put out a dog whistle, and things started to happen. So what's going on? I am not really surprised, and I expect much more. I see your crystal ball talking about more information will come. They're talking about paper shots, and then I saw a figure. I know it is a correct figure. I saw a figure here. They're talking about rewards of $30 million. I wonder if this is a way of paying back the $30 million. Remember the Bascom had made an allegation about the $30 million, that Caesar received. So much more is going to be disclosed. It coming, and I'm sure it don't come up at a rapid pace. That they were joined together at the hip, but now Elvis out of the building, so all hell will break loose. All hell will break loose. You listen, or we're going to see much more is going to come into play.
Yeah. Let me correct a student. Is the Mandela. Mandela, you said that Ramsey pronounced battalion, but that the man did not do so. The man did not do so. The man, let me play. I like to go to facts to tell you all the training in me. We deal with facts. The man did not pronounce the word battalion. Y'all telling lie on the man. Listen to it. Listen carefully what Charles Ramsey Jr. said in Parliament. Here we go.
When sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in banty-lions.
Said banty-lions. The man was quoting Shakespeare, and we quoted Shakespeare on the QC scholar, right? Rupert Rupnerine. That is quoted, and the man said banty-lions. It's battalion, you see, It's battalion, the word battalion. So, Mandela, please correct it and don't tell lie on banty-lions. The man said banty-lion. He said banty-lions. When sorrow, oh God, if you heard the man try to quote Shakespeare, they come in banty-lions. Now, let me... Lord, loud and proud, yes. You are loud and proud. He said banty-lions, right? And them I just tell you, and people like he, I just tell you that Sloan Conway don't have legal training. That's true. We never claim to have legal training, but we get enough common sense. And we have been exposed to good training. And we know what when we see, you can read between the lines, do statement analysis and all that. Let me give you all the next one. Come back to this Brutus matter. It was reported that, they're still trying to get into Brutus's account. I think it came up yesterday, and the magistrate has deferred ruling on the matter. But even before then, sometime last week, they made a big ooh and cry over the fact that they're claiming that the prosecution has withheld crucial evidence in the Brutus case during the discovery process. They say what that thing name from Germany, right up us, other thing on the prosecutorial misconduct and all that. Let me say this. When we were charged with conspiracy to commit fraud back in 2021, the matter concluded in 2023, December, when the magistrate made a ruling, right? When the case started, when the trial started, Soku was fighting then to introduce new evidence into the matter. In other words, when they had the opportunity to reveal, to disclose all the evidence they had in the case, they did not do so. So there's nothing strange here now. And what happened? The trial in our case had started, and then they making application to then disclose matter. The magistrate refused them. Magistrate said 2 years, and you then disclose, and now you come in to say she did not grant it. Soku sued the magistrate. Soku filed a statement of claim against the magistrate. I think the matter was still pending. So it is not, so you come now and the German and them making a big set of knives and so on. Soku, as we said before repeatedly, is incapable of conducting an investigation, a proper, independent, and professional investigation. And I say so without any reservation. Because, as we have seen, the first alert that we got is Nandlal. Some people say me I like Carl name, I call him name. In court, if you recall, when they had said in the Brutus matter, when he was applying to leave the country, I think it was, that he had people who would give statement to say they gave him money, right? Nandlal said that he's going to cause the investigation to be expanded to include, to investigate those forces. Then I said then, if you're doing an investigation, there would be no, if you're doing a proper investigation, there will be no need to expand the investigation, because if Brutus is the subject, and Brutus claimed that John Jones gave him 10,000 US dollars as a gift, you, the investigator, would have got to get John Jones for John Jones to say whether that is so or not. And if John Jones confirmed that he did, then John Jones perhaps you got to say where you get the money from. So immediately I was alerted that they were not doing a proper investigation. And then it came to this other part where they have a statement, a further statement, to say that this $60 million that they charged Brutus a thief in, right? Remember the charge? Can't remember the exact charge. The thing, last time a public officer or something like that, say he stole $60 million belonging to the police consumers. Evidence is there, as well as statement. They said normally statement is not evidence, but a statement is there to say that when this money was withdrawn by the lady in charge of the police consumers, the money was taken to police headquarters in envelopes, given to, handed over to Brutus in the presence of in the office of the commissioner and in the presence of the commissioner. Are you telling me that he in charge, and you want to tell me that you're doing a proper investigation? How is he not charged along with Brutus? You want to tell me that that $60 million would have handed over to Brutus, and you're going to investigate how much he get? $60 million handed over in his office to Brutus. How much he get? You're investigating the same matter too. And the man gave a statement to say he collected $8.5 million from a businessman, which he used the wedding planning story. And you're not going to investigate that as misconduct in public office? Have you ever questioned the commissioner at the time he was acting about these matters? I maintain. So they make a big noise about Brutus and about prosecutorial misconduct and all this stuff. No proper investigation was done. No proper investigation is being done. Let me assume that they want to get access to his bank account now because the investigation is continuing. And I maintain no proper investigation is not going to be done. And some people say Brutus is going to walk. And I have said, my crystal ball again, right? He's going to get off from most of the charges. I don't think he'll get off from all. I believe the aim is to convict him on one of the money laundering charges. Because once you convict him on one of the money laundering charges, then they're going to move for asset forfeiture. They're going to move to forfeit all his assets. That is the aim. That is my crystal ball telling me. I told you all the crystal ball had said that tribal union, the only aim of the tribal union was to dismiss Brutus. And the tribal union moved with breakneck speed and dismiss Brutus. I'm seeing these things. I'm not clairvoyant. I'm not an obvious man, as some people are saying, but these things are clear. Anybody with little experience. I remember we are talking about book sense because it's a book sense without common sense. It's nonsense. We're talking about common sense, which is real sense. It is there, clear for people to see. Clear as crystal. Now, let me bring in Mr. Conway to comment on that. This prosecutorial misconduct that they were talking about. And then I have two other matters to go into. CC, let me hear you on that.
Well, the thing is clear, Paul, that Suku and them, they don't have the ability to do proper investigations. It's clear, and when you look at the records, it's shown up in court. No case submission and it done. No case submission and done. And if you're going to go back to Mohamed's matter, I miss out the part here. What happened to those custom people who undervalue the vehicle? What happened to who say approve, right, say proceed? What happened to them? they're not neglectful, or they're not complicit, or they're not part and parcel of the thing. You know, so many things happening, so many things playing out, and will continue to play out. We're saying Suku doesn't have the capability, the competence, and all because Suku taking instructions from Carmichael Street, and then they go to Robert Wack, and Robert Wack saying, I advise that they be charged. And this has been happening all the time.
Happening all the time, clear for all to see. And you got to remind you of what Bernard DeSantis said. I remember what Bernard DeSantis said about the DPP. It's not me saying so. Page 51 of the book, Hijacking of the New Building Society. It is there. It is there. Now, let me move on to the next matter. This might be the penultimate one. Senior police officer charged for harboring custom alcohol cigarettes. This is March 10th. Assistant Superintendent of Police Keith Williams was on Monday charged for harboring a quantity of uncustomed goods, including alcohol and cigarettes. When the matter was called in the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrate Court, Williams was absent. As a result, the court ordered that Williams be summoned to appear and plead in the court. And let me stop right there. If he absent, was he on bail to appear in court? Was he on bail to appear in court? So they said that he was summoned to appear and plead on court on April 5th. Something wrong. Because if it is that he knew that he had to appear in court and he didn't appear, and you have the evidence that he knew, I think under those circumstances, he has applied for an arrest warrant. Williams was charged contrary to Section 218C of the Customs Act, Chapter 8201. The offense was allegedly committed in August of 2024 at Providence East Bank, Demerara. According to information reaching newsroom, Williams accused of harboring a quantity of uncustomed goods with intent to defraud Guyana Revenue Authority. Specifically, Williams allegedly harbored 560 bales of GT Smart cigarette, 560 bales of GT Smart cigarette, 2,975 cases of assorted beers, 87 cases of assorted foreign alcohol. And then I go on to say, Williams was previously charged in 2017 in connection with a quantity of fuel markers, which he handed over to an undercover Guyana Revenue Agency officer during a sting operation. And when I say senior officer, you know, there's usually things senior, a little loosely. He's an assistant superintendent, you understand? Assistant superintendent. Police. It's also, police got catch with drugs, they're fetching ganja, also. Brutus, 261 charges, also. Again, $8.5 million, also. They're hustling. It's a hustling culture. And it's monkey see, monkey do. Them matter watch what them people doing. All them hundreds of millions of dollars they talk about what government ministers and all them are alleged to be thieving. So man, gotta make the hustle too. You gotta count them little by. You gotta make your heights too. That's what's going on. I'm not a condoning corruption, but I'm relating the facts. So when the ASP is caught with all of these things, and they say, I remember the case with the fuel markers. I remember the case well with the fuel markers. Right there, the man, how they work. It's hustle, everybody hustling. And not like in our era, Percy, when we talk about hustling, we're talking about a man tackling a woman. That was the type of hustle we knew of. But no, it's a different type of hustle these days. Different type. It's a hustling country we in. Everybody hustling. Everybody hustling. And while we don't condone it, it is the culture. It is part of the culture. One man, $60 million, and the next 20, senior man. Next man, he said right in that he collect $8.5 million. Jack Dio said it was reprehensible, and he got promoted. Policemen get catch, including SWAT men, catching ganja. What happened to them? Policeman accused of being mastermind behind breaking and West Derara. What happened to them? What happened to them? Let me bring Mr. Conway to give his closing, and then I can tell you some stuff. See, Your closing remarks, man. We got so many other things we wanted to talk about, but time run out on us.
So true, you know. And then we remember we had the whiskey case on the quarantine. Remember that whiskey case on the quarantine? But Paul, on the last episode, we spoke about the conduct of the policemen in court. Police in the uniform section attending court and with tight pants like it make up on them and kind of thing, you know, and police swaying to information and not giving and not properly dressed. But somebody called me and they rated a matter, which if they really don't deal with it, the matter might go down the drain. Here's a witness in a murder case, we call it a star witness. The case is being held at Sparendam Magistrate Court. The witness lives at Springlands. She has to come to Sparendam Court and she comes in regularly to attend court. And she applied for at least her traveling because she got to pay her own passage. And the prosecutor told her, hey, you can't get no money. We're only paying traveling when the matter is for the High Court. I know in my days as an elderly, I used to make out what we call witness accounts. And persons who travel from far used to get back the traveling money. I think the money used to pay the post office used to pay the money. So here's a case where a witness coming from Springlands to attend Sparendam Magistrate Court. And the allegation is that the prosecutor said you can't get no money. It's only if you got to go to High Court. Something is wrong somewhere. And the witness understands, hey, I ain't coming back to no court there. Whatever happen will happen. I'm a main witness, and if the case the man gotta get off, he gotta get off because I ain't coming back to court. So they need to look at it. And what happened at Sparendam might be happening countrywide, where they're not paying the traveling allowances for witnesses who has to travel from far to attend court. Maybe they should look at that. And more particularly this one at Sparendam, where it is a murder matter being trial that is going on. And I repeat myself, the witness coming from Springlands pay nearly about $5,000 a one-way passage to come to court, and then pay passage come back, and the prosecutor saying that they ain't paying no witness account because witness account is only paid for persons who attend Supreme Court. And I know about Supreme Court, I know people from the North, when they come to court and they know where to stay, they find accommodation for them, they find meals for them during the duration of the case. So they need to look at it in terms of witness accounts for persons who are attending court, not only at Sparendam, but might be countrywide, the same thing going on.
Right, thanks for that. Hope they're listening now. Hope they're listening and they take appropriate action. Because you have a star witness in a murder case, how can you not reimburse that person the traveling? Something is wrong. Something wrong. Now, drum roll. Drum roll. Here we go.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, he is a friend of ours.
He's
a friend of ours. Therapy. And close, I haven't played this one for a while, so let me play it. They're going to carry me right up the program time. Let me play it.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in a state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter. It's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society. We all lose when corruption is rampant. Those who participate in corruption have chosen evil over good, lies over truth, and personal gain over well-being of all. To be corrupt means to be rotten. When meat is corrupt, it's rotten, and it stinks. Rotten meat can't be eaten. When a person is corrupt, he's rotten and unfit for a place in the community. A corrupt person should be jailed in order to protect society from the vile deeds of the corrupt person. Government should be protecting us from the foul results of corruption instead of being the proponents and participants in corruption. When corruption is systemic, when it's a culture and a way of life, when corruption thrives, it destroys the health of the community and nation. Now let me tell you something. Defeating corruption is a very difficult thing. The love of money is the root of all evil, the Bible says. People who love money will do almost anything to get it. Those who choose to stand up against corruption, you need to know that we're going to be involved in a war. We will be threatened, vilified, intimidated, marginalized, and ridiculed. These kind of people who stand up against corruption will often feel alone, as if they are the problem instead of the solution. Corruption can only be defeated when enough people have had enough and decide to do something about it.
That's it, folks. That's the end of today's program. Again, I ask you, those of you who want to make a contribution, the numbers are there. Zelle, Cash App, and MMG. Again, I thank all of those who have been making their contributions, and we look forward to a continued contribution. Wonderful attendance today in class. I must compliment all you students who were there even before the doors were open, and once the doors were open, you came in large numbers. I hope you were, as is customary, you are satisfied with the information that we are passing on. We will continue to do the research. We'll continue to bring you credible, valuable information. As it is now, today is Wednesday, the 12th day. The next program is scheduled for Monday. As I continue to say to you, you just make sure that you subscribe to the channel on YouTube, follow the page on Facebook, and if something happens, we will come to you immediately and bring it to to your attention. So even though the next program is scheduled for Monday, God's willing, something come up, we feel that you should know, we feel that we should analyze before Monday, we are going to bring it to you. So until then, Simone says she's 100% satisfied. I hope, I know most of you, if not all of you, would have been satisfied. Because if you're not satisfied, you would not have remained here for this time. You would not have been in class. So again, thank you for your attendance. Stay well. I continue to urge all of us. Guyana is a dangerous place. Road traffic, people say some type of flu going around, dengue, and also be careful, be safe. The roads are dangerous. We haven't got to go into the carnage yet. We keep putting it off, but I promise you that very soon we're going to address it. Right? So stay safe, and until we meet again, bye.